everybody, and welcome to another session of Scuba Talk. I'm Scuba Dave. We're going to be talking about becoming a dive master. That's going to be this focus of this session of Scuba Talk. We'll be right back. To learn the knowledge, working with students, and helping other people. Okay. To start off with, I get asked almost every class that I teach. I'm asked is it hard to become a dive master? No, absolutely not. It's my opinion. It's pretty easy if you're into diving. Okay. The part that I think is going to be a little tough for some people is learning the gear. Okay, when we all go through our open water class, we learn what a BCD is. We learn the weight system. We learn a regulator. We learn the parts of a regulator. But we really never dive into what is a balanced, what is a overbalanced. Okay, what is a wing BCD? What is a back inflate? What is a jacket inflate? In class, we touch those real quick. There's not a whole lot on them. When we go to the pool, I get asked, what type of BC am I in? And I always tell them, you're in a jacket BC. Oh, okay. And that's it. I mean, that's the further investigation that they want to do. They don't want to ask the pros and cons. They don't want to ask anything. So normally, as a dive master, the students will go to the dive master and ask the dive master, hey, what's the difference between a jacket style versus a back inflate? Okay, it's almost as if they're too embarrassed to come and ask the instructor, so they'll go and they'll ask the dive master. Okay, the role of the dive master carries many hats. Okay, you're there to help the students put their gear together, make sure it's done correctly, teach them a little bit, teach them how to do it. Okay, as the instructor, I'll instruct them how to do it. As a dive master, I use my dive masters to do demonstrations. Okay, so my dive masters, I use them to go nice and slow when they do their demonstrations. Okay, that's how you're taught in the dive master program. Okay, and then when the students are putting their gear together, the role of a dive master is to kind of oversee, to make sure that the dive masters or that the students are putting their gear together correctly. Okay, it's not hard because you're a seasoned diver. Okay, and you've put your gear together many times to complete the dives, so you should be able to help them. Figuring out their weight, helping them when they get into the pool to get their weight right. As an instructor, we do a weight check, and we also we'll tell them, okay, go 10% your body weight, and then when we go to the ocean, you're going to add 7 pounds. Okay. So as a dive master, there's a golden opportunity for you to jump in and help students to dial in their weight in the pool while they're waiting for me to do a dive weight buoyancy. Okay, so these are perfect times to help them. When you see students that have fins on that don't fit them correctly and they're complaining how uncomfortable they are, that's a golden opportunity for a dive master to jump in and say, hey, you want to try my fins? Or hey, I would recommend these types of fins. But then that's where a dive master has to know products. And so a lot of people, when they want to be a dive master, they go to work at a dive shop. And it's a golden opportunity. Now, most dive shops don't pay dive masters hardly anything. I know when you work for me and you go with me on the dives or you help me in the pool, okay, I pay $25 a dive plus lunch. Okay, you can compare that to our area, and that's not a bad deal. Um, if they're helping me in the pool, depending how long we're in the pool, could be just a flat $50 for the pool to help me in the pool. But you'll have to look in your area. Now, I have heard of dive shops that they don't pay their dive masters anything. Matter of fact, you pay the dive shop to become a dive master, but you work in the dive shop and you don't get paid. Or it's some dive shops, it's a trade-off, okay? You work in the dive shop to gain knowledge of products and how to, your customer service skills, okay? And yet they won't charge you for the dive master course. Okay? That's something that you got to work out with each dive shop or who your instructor is, okay? Here in the Southern California area, a lot of dive masters, they get paid like $20, $25, $30 a day, some of them. But I pay $25 a dive that we do, plus I buy them lunch, okay? So, whether it's good or bad, that's the dive master ranks, okay? Plus, if we go to, if I take a class over to Catalina, okay, I always flip the bill for my dive master to go to Catalina. I wouldn't expect them to pay out of their own pocket to go over and make less money than what the trip costs. So those are some of the things for a dive master. Now, to prepare, I don't want to scare you off from being a dive master. That sounds pretty bad, right? You look at it and you go, "Wow, I can't make no money." Well, typically working at a dive shop, if that's your full-time job, you're not going to make it. A dive master might be, I consider it a hobby. Going and helping an instructor, making a few extra bucks, pay for your air fills, maybe help you buy some new gear. Working at a dive shop, sometimes they give you what is called a pro deal, where you get a discount on gear. So that helps you out that way. So there's another perk. But those are just some of the things. Now, to prepare yourself for becoming a dive master. Now, I can only speak from PADI. I can't speak of SSI or NAUI or some of the others. I can't speak because I don't know their requirements to become a dive master through their programs. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they pay. So that's something you would have to check. If you're not going to become a PADI dive master, then that's something you would want to check with the other agencies on what their requirements are. Now with PADI, okay, so you've completed your open water, okay. Normally the next step is advanced. Now, if you're not going to be a dive master, okay, you can skip advanced and go to rescue. You do not have to do advanced to get to rescue, okay. However, if you're going to be a dive master, okay, you must take the advanced class. Now, it doesn't matter what order you take it. You can go from open water to rescue and then take your advanced, okay? But the way I like to teach it is I like to take an open water student, have them do the advanced class first, then do the rescue class, okay? And once you've done that, okay, and we get all those dives done, okay, you're pretty much ready to go. Now, you must be what PADI calls EFR certified. In other words, you got to have a CPR certification and an AED certification in first aid. Okay, so you have to have those three things. Now, I like my students that I'm teaching, Dive Master, I like them to go a bit further. Now, I don't teach PADI EFR. I teach DAN, Divers Alert Network. And the reason for that is because in that class, not only do I teach them first aid, CPR, okay, the AED, but I also teach them how to use oxygen. Now, my dive masters, I want them to be able to use the oxygen because if I'm tied up helping other students get out of the water, and maybe my dive master, he's bringing them in, and if his diver that he's helping in is all of a sudden starting to feel the DCS come on, okay, I want my dive master to be able to administer that oxygen to him right away, okay? And then he's going to know, okay, do I need to call 911 or whatever it is we need to do, lifeguards, whatever, okay? So that's how I like my dive masters, okay? I want them to have all four of those, okay, certs under their belt when they're applying to be a dive master for me, okay, or with me. To me, that's a top quality. That's something that I really need in a dive master. So now let's talk about, okay, I want to prepare myself now to be a dive master, okay? Well, the best thing I can tell you, which helped me, is try to find this workbook, okay? Now, I don't know if other agencies, what they do, what things come up when they're wanting to be a dive master or an instructor, but this dive workbook really gives you a lot of insight, a lot of knowledge that the students are going to ask you. I get it. You're not going to be an instructor. You're only going to be a dive master, but we've already talked about how the dive master is teaching, right? You're teaching a little bit. Now, what can a dive master do without an instructor? Okay? You can teach refresher courses. So that means a lot of questions that normally might be asked of an instructor are now going to be asked of you. Okay? So it's a really good idea, in my opinion, to learn a bunch of the instructor knowledge that we have to learn, okay? And this workbook will give it to you. Now, I get it. This is a PADI workbook, and I'm not being paid by PADI or anything. I'm just giving you my knowledge, okay? But this book really will help you a lot to prepare on how to become a dive master. Students are going to ask you questions like, how do I figure out how many cubic feet are left in my tank after I die? Okay? If you don't know how to do that, it could be pretty embarrassing when they ask you, right? Because they look up to you. You're a dive master. I don't. Let me go ask Dave, right? No, that's not the answer, right? They expect you to know, okay? Now, being a dive master is fun, okay? So we teach you in the pool, when you're going through Dive Master, we teach you all the skills, okay, the same as an instructor would do when teaching someone. Why? Because you may be doing a refresher course, and you have to go through those skills, and you got to be able to demonstrate it. You have to be able to perform it for them, okay, while you're under the water, okay, and you need to do it with confidence. You got to have nice, slow technique. Remove the mask, take the mask off, put the mask back on, clear the mask, okay? And then we're going to teach you the things to be looking for. Things that, did they blow the bubbles correctly? Did they tilt their head back? When they took the reg out, were they releasing bubbles? All the stuff that you went through when you went in through your open water, okay? So those are some of the things. Other duties that a dive master can do are what? You can lead tours. You get to take people on dive sites. So when people call a dive shop and say, hey, I'm coming in from out of town and I want to dive XYZ, okay, do you have someone that can take us on a dive? That's you. That's the dive master. They're going to send you to take these people out on a dive, okay? That's fun, right? You're really diving, and you're just keeping track of your people, right? Don't want to lose nobody, and you're having fun. You're getting paid to go do a dive, okay? And you get to point out things you would point out anyway. If we were diving together, and you found an octopus down in a crevice or something, you're going to point it out to me, right? You would say, hey, you'd signal me with the light or whatever, a clicker, right? Well, that's what you're going to do for your clients now. So it's basically the same, okay? Some people choose not to go on to become an instructor, and that's fine. And I'll tell you, it's the responsibility, because when you take people under the water, if you have a group, 5, 6, 8, okay, you're responsible for them. Even though you have a dive master, the ultimate responsibility comes down to the instructor, okay? So, you've got to be ready for that, and you've got to prepare yourself mentally that your planning is right, you're setting up your students so everybody comes home at the end of the day, okay? So those are just some of the things that you need to think about when you become a dive master. Now, there are jobs during certain seasons that you could make some good money at. Go work a liveaboard, right? You're not spending your money on anything. That money's going into the bank. So at the end of the season, right, you got a nice little nest egg to take home with you. So that could be fun. And basically, you're just getting paid to go dive and help people with their gear, things that you love to do. That's why you became a dive master. Now, there's a couple things that nobody will talk to you about, and they don't tell you. When you're going through Dive Master, nobody will tell you this because it scares people away, okay? For one, every year you have dues that you have to pay to PADI. Now, I don't know how it is for SSI. I don't know how it is for NAUI or some of these other organizations. But PADI gets, for a dive master, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think it was like $120 a year, okay, that you would send them. So when you think about that money you got to send to PADI every year, how many dives do you have to go help on and make some money, okay, before you start putting money in your own pocket, okay? Something to think about. The other part that nobody talks about is insurance, okay? You have to have insurance as a dive master, okay? And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that's around $150 a year. So your first year when you become a dive master, you're looking at, just say $300 per year to be a dive master. So now you got to ask yourself, can I make that money back? How many dives is that? How many do I need to go on before I start putting money in my own pocket? Okay. Now, for some people, they love to help out with classes. And so they work for me. They take the money I give them, and that money pays that $300 a year, and they're satisfied. Plus, they got a free lunch out of it. And they enjoyed it. They got to go on a fun dive. They got to help out, blah, blah, blah. So they're happy. But those are things that you seriously need to think about. Don't wait till you finish the class and the instructor walks up and says, here's your paperwork. Take the foil, put it on your paperwork, and mail it into PADI. Oh, by the way, you have to send them this money down here too. And you need to go buy insurance, okay, prior to sending all this in. So, that's a big deal breaker for some people. And so you really need to think about it. Now, I get asked a lot. People will say, well, what if I go through the dive master class and I just don't be an active dive master? Can I still help? And the answer is absolutely not. Okay? Because if you do something wrong and somebody gets hurt, you have no insurance. And then I can become liable, okay, for having you helping me with the class. I become liable. So, again, that's something you need to think about. If you have any other questions about becoming a dive master, or if I've missed something and something you want to know, feel free. You can either leave a comment down below or send me an email to scubadave94@gmail.com. And don't forget, hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, and ring the bell. If you ring the bell, that will let you know when future updates come out. If there's a topic that you would like us to talk about, please feel free to email me, put it in the comments below, and we'll see if we can't get that for you. So for now, this is Scuba Dave saying, have fun, be safe, and keep diving.